suspect in Los Angeles breaks 100 miles per hour while being chased on Interstate 10 in an attempt to elude cops. Los Angeles, on August 16, 2024, two people, a man and a woman, were involved in a dangerous police chase that stretched across Interstate 10 in Los Angeles.
And for the stop is why they give that out. Now, once they take off, that turns into a failure to yield and then ups the ante on the violations and on the crimes. So right now, going 110 freeway at the 10, crossing over there, it's going to see which way he's going to go as he comes through this area. But very high rates of speed, very erratic moves through the lanes and getting around traffic that is moving along at freeway speeds. And once they start doing this, it turns into a recipe for disaster because running up on traffic and people not knowing what's going on, now using the center divider to get by in the emergency lane. That poor guy in the silver car has no idea why this car just blew by him on the left side when he was in the number one lane. So yeah, a very dangerous pursuit tonight.
Extremely dangerous. So we know that CHP is the lead agency, Tim, but we're also learning that LAPD is now involved as well with a fixed wing above to go along with all of the crews. So multi-agency effort here. Speed's having to back down because it's Friday night. There's a lot more drivers on the road, typically on a Friday night anyway. It's just past 11 p.m. And now we're taking it looks like the Central Avenue exit as we're going across the ramp here and blowing by these unsuspecting drivers. Tim, the way to bring this to an end, how do you do it with speeds like this dangerous? It looks like we're on the frontage road now.
Yeah, it looks like we're dropping down into the area south of downtown Los Angeles. When he gets into the streets like this, then LAPD might be able to get ahead of him and put out a spike strip. But when you're at, 70, 80 miles an hour on the freeway, there's not really too much you can do other than let the helicopter call the pursuit, let the ground units hold back, and follow in behind. But man, you see the speeds he's picking up on these surface streets here on Washington, going up on San Pedro up to 75 miles an hour. And at this time of night, you have people walking around, you have cars just casually coming out of driveways. At that speed, he's not going to be able to react, but luckily going through a green light right there. And we'll have to see how he's going to react once he comes into the neighborhoods. And if he starts doing that through red lights, it's just a matter of time. But you see a CHP unit not too far behind him trying to stay on him as fast as he can go, going through another green light. But CHP not backing off on this pursuit. Now coming about a stale red, making that right-hand turn.
Talk about the power that Challenger has, because as mentioned, first reports are that this car may have been involved in a straight takeover. They're there to show it off. They can do all sorts of maneuvers. We got the CHP car that's obviously has some high horsepower, but the Dodge Challenger, it's a muscle car.
It is. It's one of the faster cars on the road that they put out. And when you have the Challenger or the Chargers on these pursuits, you're going to see speeds well up into the triple digits. And as this guy's working his way around, staying in pretty good control of his car. So right now it looks like the driver is not over driving for what he has, so he's not losing control or wearing out his brakes as he comes up on these intersections. But the acceleration you see when he gets in a straight line, it just moves along in that acceleration. But the one thing he is not going to outrun is that night sun from that helicopter that's overhead. And right now he's making those squares, making those right turns and staying in an area. This gives the police department a chance to be able to get on him. But it looks like he's trying to get back to that freeway, but missed an on-ramp right there. Coming up, yep, looks like he's picking up the second on-ramp. So he'll be back up on the 10 freeway here. So we'll see what happens once he gets there. But CHP right behind him as he comes up onto the freeway. We'll see how fast he goes and where he goes. But it looks like he may have blacked out. I don't see any taillights on the car.
It looks like he did, in fact, turn the lights out, which is an interesting maneuver as we're coming up on the 10 freeway. We're back here. Now we're in the eastbound direction, just passing the Central Avenue exit. I have yet to see this where lights just, this is part of the strategy? What will this do for him?
He hopes to get so far ahead of the ground unit that the ground unit won't be able to keep track of them and miss the off-ramp. So with the cars in the daytime running lights, they still have a little bit of light ahead of them where they can see, but the back end is completely blacked out. And as you're in pursuit behind these vehicles, they start mixing in with traffic like this. You're trying to stay up with them because now he has gone through vehicles. People are now nervous and scattered. They don't know what just happened, and all of a sudden now you're coming up, and the problem is you're having to weave your way through that same traffic that he just excited as he went by. So looking ahead, trying to pick up on those taillights is very tough for the officer on the ground, but the air unit will direct that officer. So he's just hoping he can catch an off-ramp, get off the freeway, and then speed down and get ahead of enough to where he can go under something or hide somewhere to be able to get out on foot and blend in with the crowd.
All right, so we're 10 eastbound, speeds now about 55. He's gonna pick up those speeds just as soon as he gets some open road, and that's what's happening right now. So now we're already up to 70 miles per hour. At one point we were well above 100 miles per hour. No lights, extremely dangerous. Obviously, if you know somebody on the road this late hour, please alert them to this danger on the road. The other thing to keep in mind from CHP's perspective, law enforcement's perspective, we don't know how many people are inside. We don't know if they're armed. Law enforcement always assumes that whomever is behind the wheel, whomever is inside, is in fact armed. As we get a closer look, though, Tim, at this Dodge Challenger, those windows we mentioned.
The suspects inside a red sedan were tied up and took over the street and led the California Highway Patrol on an intense car chase. The driver eventually stopped and surrendered to police without further drama.
It looks like there's some damage to the side of the vehicle as well. This is wild.
Yeah, it is. And it could be a very simple thing as he just ran out of gas, or at the point he's figured, you know, I've chased so hard here, I'm just going to give up and then see what happens with law enforcement and the courts. So right now it just looks like a simple give up. You're just going to walk back to the officers, follow their instructions. So, you know, maybe he just figured, I'm not getting away. These officers are staying with me. The helicopter's with me, so there's no sense putting myself in danger. And actually, a pursuit suspect using a little bit of common sense here.
Yeah, I mean, thank goodness with those speeds, so scary.
Right.
So here we are. This is the eastbound 60, I think I saw from the Extreme Nav technology. The suspect doing as officers telling him to do, and that is, in fact, backing up with the back turned to them, hands up. He will get down. Typically, that's the protocol. Tim, you know this better than me, but get down on the ground and eventually be put into cuffs, but maybe that's not going to happen. Just put him into cuffs right here. They will obviously then, and it looks like a young man here, maybe in his 20s, if that, guns drawn as they approach the vehicle. Yep, there are more people involved. Looks like a young woman as well. So now she is doing the same. She's backing up and doing as officers tell her to do. So we'll see if there are more people in the Dodge Challenger that has just decided just to stop right there at the interchange on the eastbound 60 from the 10. And hopefully we can call this a code for that.